It's August 24th, 2023, 24. On Saturday. Beautiful Saturday here in San Diego. I am going to be having a Zoom meeting with DNA person Rueben Moss. We're going to be sharing our research documents, verifying some, clarifying, and mostly discovering some family history that we wouldn't have been able to discover if it wasn't for DNA. It is. So here she is. It's all good, it's all God.
Jerry,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm blessed by the best. How are you?
I am well. We had a nice week at the beach, and now my husband is winding up to get back into teaching in a couple of weeks. So
Well, I'm glad you got a chance to get some rest and relaxation in, you know. You did a lot of teaching in your life, didn't you?
I'm having difficulty understanding your voice signal.
Okay, let me get up closer. Can you hear me clear now?
That's a little better, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I have hearing loss on top of everything else.
Well, if we have to communicate by hand signals, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long, hot summer out here in San Diego.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, here too.
you have to be safe. You know, can't do some of the things that you normally do out in the hot sun. I appreciate joining the meeting and all the documents that you've shared with me.
Hmm.
It's been it's been a blessing collaborating with you.
I'm glad. Yeah, it's felt to me like something like an honor to be able to meet you all and work together in a positive way. Makes me
Yeah,
feel good.
yeah, it is. And I was just mentioning in my introduction is through this DNA,
Yeah.
we're able to reconstruct our family. But your presence, you brought a voice to a major uh, a major part of our history through DNA.
Hmm. It's pretty incredible. I started doing this research, maybe 25 years ago when it was big. There was hardly anything available. And yeah, it's just amazing what you confirm back and forth with the two, the records and the DNA.
What motivated you to contact me?
Yeah.
What motivated you to contact me?
To start doing genealogy at all, you mean?
No, to contact me.
Oh, contact you. Um, I knew from years ago that I had a lot of slave owning ancestors. And there were, when I first started looking, there were very few records about, that were available online of what they did. When I started with the DNA things and started seeing matches who were people of color, I thought, okay, well, it's really obvious what my ancestors did. So, can I figure out who some of these folks are? And the ones that I was able to trace most positively was Rueben Moss and a couple of his descendants. And then I would periodically go back and look at it. And then this year, when I went back and looked at some of the other folks, in between that, the last couple of years, I began to feel like I really want to do something to help and make a difference for people. And there are not very many things I can actively do because I'm semi-retired and I have health issues. But I thought, but this is a skill that I have, and this is something I could do. And if I could help folks put names in their family trees, that would mean a lot. So I started looking for people specifically. And then when I was looking at people who I was pretty sure were Moss relatives and saw you were linked to a lot of them and that you had the most trees and the most people and seemed to be the most active that I found. So I thought, all right, I'll see, but I'll tell you, it was nerve-wracking because I didn't know how it would be received. I don't want to be patronizing. I don't want to be bringing somebody news that they don't want to have. But I've watched enough of the Henry Louis Gates shows to get the sense that it means a lot to people to have names and to have the truth. And I feel really strongly for my family's benefit, they need to know the truth and we need to say what's real. So I'm doing it for both.
That's quite a story, and I appreciate the spirit inside. You found that spirit, and that it led you to me because I have been, conducting extensive research on my family,
Yeah.
and what it is, dear cousin, like minds come together. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I am, so grateful that I have been able to talk with you, conduct research, share our research, and to verify our records, and do this with peace, with love. Because what you said earlier, the truth, I can do more with the truth than a number of lies.
Yeah.
And, the truth can't be hidden.
Yeah.
And
It's ugly and it's painful, but to do anything other than to be real about it to me would be just making the sin worse.
that's true, especially in this current environment that we live in.
Yeah.
Therefore, what items do you want to discuss today?
Okay. One thing I would be interested to know is if you have any evidence of whether Thomas Moss had any children with enslaved people. I haven't found anybody that I felt was a match, or that DNA matches that I could absolutely positively link to him. But it seemed to me from some of the things that you were saying that you thought you did. So I would be interested to find out that. You know, obviously he could have, and obviously a lot of people did. So, you know, if he did, I'd be interested to know that. And the other thing is, you know, it seems to me that it's been proven that Rueben was probably a child of JCC Moss, and Caroline, I think, was probably a child of JCC Moss. And I was wondering if we would be able to look at any other, you know, if you were matches to any other of the descendants of William and Patsy, William and Martha, and therefore, you know, could we say for sure that maybe some of the others were also. Those are the most things, the things I'm most interested in. And I want to, you know, eventually I want to basically, you know, post a tree with a lot of this information, so that people can find it and can identify themselves if possible. But in the meantime, I owe my family a book, so I'm kind of going back and forth between projects that need to be finished.
Well, to answer your first question about Thomas,
Yeah,
Reverend Thomas, I cannot verify,
right.
DNA verify that he was an ancestor of mine,
Right.
but I can verify that it starts with him.
That what?
The family
Starts with him. Yes, I feel confident that he is your ancestor, no matter what. You know, he's either Jackson's father, who was Reuben's father, or yeah. So yes, he is your ancestor, and incidentally, it's kind of ironic that you want me to close the door.
No,
You're going to. Okay, talking to my husband.
Can I say hi to him if he's available? Can I just say hi to him?
Pardon me?
Can I say hi to your husband if he's available, or is he gone?
Oh, my husband?
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about this. You want to meet him? You want to see his face?
Yes.
Sure. Here we are.
What's his name?
This is Michael.
Hi, Michael.
His
Hi, nice
his
to meet
last
you.
name is Noel, like spelled like Noel.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you and to put a face to
Yeah,
the wonderful stories that she says about you, and and she's a wonderful person, and you take care of those kids that you're getting ready to go back to, and you know, lead them well. And I hope you had a great vacation.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take
Thanks,
care.
Michael.
See ya. Where are you going?
To school.
Okay.
See, you see, he's going to school.
Yeah, he teaches woodworking for elementary and preschool students, believe it or not.
Wow,
So he
a
has to,
skill.
yeah, so he has to set up his wood shop for
Wow.
school to start.
You know, those were some of the classes that I really enjoyed in junior high school. Is you know my wood classes and metal classes in junior high school. I remember those well.
Yeah,
And eventually, I ended up not only working in the construction business, but it ended up being an engineer. You know, in engineering, doing all the design and drafting, civil engineering. That's my
yeah.
background. And so, but it starts with putting your mind and working on projects,
That's
and
exactly it.
and, and it's invaluable, the experience that you get.
One of the points of the program that Mike teaches us is not so much learning the skills of, you know, how you hook the hammer and sawing, but that, you know, you get an idea, you do the work to make the idea come true. It's your work, it's your project, And yes, it's hard, and no, you can't quit. You have to finish it. You committed to finish it.
Yep.
So he has 5-year-olds making pieces of furniture. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's that's awesome. Okay, so the first question I answered. The second question that you had was about other, do I have records and verify other, like Caroline and
Right.
other relatives?
Maybe Henry or Daniel,
Yes,
the people people who were clearly children of William and Martha, right? Who may have also been biologically children of my JCC. That's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
Are there any more branches out there?
well, I'm gonna answer it like this. Do you remember the conversations that we had with Tommy?
With who?
Tommy Lewis.
Tammy?
Tommy Lewis.
Tommy Lewis. Oh yeah. And I know he definitely was related to some of the same folks, but we both felt like they were all either descended from Rueben or they were descended from Caroline, which would mean Rueben and Caroline could have been half siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't know if there were any other branches that you know of, any other people that you're related to, that might have been descended from one of the other people who were enslaved by Moss, Henry or Daniel or any of the others.
Well, what do you feel the purpose of me asking you that question about Tommy Lewis?
What do I think the purpose of your asking the question?
Yes.
To make sure that I know about his connection? Or are you thinking about the numbers issue?
No, not the numbers issues.
No.
Just the mere fact that he has DNA relatives, DNA cousins that match,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you have DNA
Yes.
cousins that match.
Yes.
And
And we have DNA cousins that match each other.
correct.
Yeah. But I don't happen, at least Ancestry doesn't say that I'm directly related to Tommy Lewis, which I think is because it doesn't count that small of relationship. It also doesn't count you for me. But clearly the records show that we are related.
Correct.
Right.
So you have a number. This is still answering the second question. You have a number of DNA matches that I have,
Yes.
and Tommy has a number of DNA matches that I have.
Yes. I
So,
think we all share a whatever it is, 3 great grandfather, 3 or 4 times great grandfather.
correct.
Yeah.
And
We're cousins.
there you are. So that's one reason why that's verification. That's DNA verification.
Yes. Oh, I have no question that we're that's real and verified. I just didn't know if there were any more.
Well, all the people that you, all those people who you are matches with,
Yeah.
I am matches with.
Yeah. Okay.
And all the people that Tommy's matched with, I am a match with.
Yeah.
And one thing that is happening, so what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Right.
It tells me we're cousins, and it tells me that my great whatever grandfather it was fathered children with an enslaved woman.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Not very admirable.
it's the truth. It's the truth, and it doesn't.
Exactly.
It's the truth, and I just wanted to put it in context so that you could have better understanding what my position is on it.
Yeah.
That being said, look at the harvest. When it all comes down to it, the harvest is someone like Tommy, someone
Right.
like yourself, who does have a heart, who is sharing, who
Yeah.
who is making a difference in us reconstructing our family tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, so
I was struck by when Tommy had the meeting with all of you, and watched the tape of that. I was struck by him saying, these stories weren't handed down in my family, which, I say also, of course, would my grandmother and grandfather who, would they have known this? Probably not. Would they have suspected it? Maybe. Would they ever admit it? Not a chance. Mm.
well, one thing that I I believe that those were that's what happens. You had slavery, and it was a matter how are you going to treat your enslaved people? Are you going to be a total tyrannical and really abuse them and don't have no empathy for them, or are you going to give them with a degree of compassion? And one of the reasons why I believe that my ancestors had a degree of compassion is uh, the Reverend Thomas Moss was a a a, a, a preacher, and he was one of the originators of of that of that community.
That's true.
Yes, and that being said, preachers, no matter uh, what color, when they have when they speak the word, study the word is going to be a part of their life, and
Mm.
and they're going to exhibit it. And I feel that through their actions, I feel that that family, his family, they showed their enslaved people a degree of favor.
Mhm. Well,
And
that's generous of you to say.
yes,
Yeah, I did notice that when in Thomas's will, when he was dividing up his enslaved people to go to his children, he did keep the babies with their mothers,
there
but
you go.
that's as far as it went. He split older children, he split couples. Um,
that, that that's
yeah,
that's true. But even that degree of uh, empathy, it, it made a difference.
yeah,
That that's why we're able to reconstruct our families now through the DNA.
that's true. We would never have known.
No, So I just want to share that with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for me or specific things that I put in and that you're wondering about or disagree with or?
Well, let's talk briefly
Okay.
where the men, we can, we have some verifiable records with the men.
Yes.
Now, my enslaved uh, female ancestors,
Yeah.
that's where a big question comes in.
Yeah.
And based off of their age and where they were enslaved and their kids and our matches, you have been able to build a bridge where
Mhm.
there was none.
Yeah.
You see?
Oh, yeah. That's
And
actually why one of the main reason I was hoping to find more links to you was that it might help us identify Ruben's mother. Because, if my Moss wasn't the father, but you have you're related to a descendant, then it could be that the link is through their mother. And we might be able to identify her that way. In other words, if JCC Moss fathered Reuben with Martha, right?
yes,
Then some of Martha's other children would have been his half siblings, and maybe there's DNA links to trace those folks if they were connected. That's the main thing.
well, the records, the records, let's go by what we know.
Right.
Let's start there. I always had a question about these individuals who were in the 1870 census
Yeah.
when they were first able to have their last names.
Yeah.
And they lived right next to each other.
I find it fascinating. Somebody should write a book about how the emancipated folks decided to who was going to live together. I sort of have this picture in my head, like, well, these children were in this family, and now we've all been freed, and somebody's got to take care of them. So, okay, you guys come live with me. And they had a kind of family-ness, even if they weren't actually genetically related. So yes, so the 1870s, those family bonds,
They,
certainly they're about relationship, but are they about genetic relationship? I don't
yes, they
know.
are. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. And an example of that is Reuben,
Yeah.
Rufus.
Yeah.
You mentioned him quite a bit. And Reuben and Rufus, they were in the same location in the 1870 census, right next to each other.
Yeah, literally next door.
Yeah, they're on the same
And
place.
Daniel too. Daniel and Henry too. Daniel and Henry were living together
Yes.
at
And
one point.
you have Henry and Pink.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, then we're talking about William and Martha.
Right.
And you gave me records, but one person you didn't include, but he was always there. was William Jack Moss.
Right.
Remember William Jack Moss?
Right,
He was always in the community, but he was by himself.
right.
So
And I think there were even 3 different people named Rufus. So clearly Rufus was a family name.
right.
Yeah.
Well, there was the Rufus, the senior, and there's a Rufus Jr. There was a
Yep.
Jerry Jr.
Yep.
See, so what you did was you answered the question about where they uh what 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 farm they were on.
Right.
That's what the DNA verified.
Right.
And their names were in Reverend Thomas's,
Hmm. Right.
and you saw their age. You were able to break out their age, and
Yeah.
the women, their names, like the 2 women that was in Reverend Thomas's will, uh, Tilda and Annie. You remember them? Tilda and Annie. They, when, but anyway, when they were out, once they were free, there was a William, a Martha,
Right.
and they stayed with Henry. And Martha had passed away, but William lived longer. William Moss.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then their children were the Henry,
Right.
Henry, um, Rueben.
Jenny, wasn't it?
Jenny,
Yeah.
Jenny is a kid
Yeah, but she was Caroline.
Rueben.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you did is now these names that live right next to each other on the 1870 census, we know who they are
Yeah.
and where they came from.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that before talking to you.
That's cool.
We just knew their names and they were Black.
Yeah.
But you provided this will. Tommy did first. He provided the will, but Tommy didn't have the specificity that you
Right.
had.
Right.
And he wasn't able to triangulate and add some color
Right.
to the documents and the DNA relatives.
Yeah.
So now the picture is a lot clearer.
Yeah.
Whether we find out who this uh this great grandmother, the enslaved woman, was, who she was or not, I'm looking at now. This isn't verifiable, but I'm looking at Martha
Yeah.
as being,
I think so. It seems
yeah,
the most likely.
yeah,
Yeah.
as the one that's Reuben's mother.
Yes. And I think Caroline's mother might have been Alabama.
Correct. Which is which is but Reuben married her. I mean, Rufus married Alabama. Rufus did.
Yeah. Rufus's wife. Yes. Right? If I got the right one.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's his wife.
Yeah.
And at that time in their lives, they knew the difference in these
Yeah. Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The slaveholders knew the difference.
Sure.
and and their wives knew the difference.
Yep. The cousins growing up on the same plantation knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you knew by some of their roles on the farms and plantations what the kids did. You knew how they were treated, and that's what I mean by I believe that on the records now, on the records, it specifically says that my second great grandfather, Ruben, was a mulatto.
Yes. Yeah, he was called mulatto in some of the censuses.
The
Clearly the
beginning,
picture shows he has fairly light skin.
the
Yeah,
beginning, yeah.
yep,
So that's why it was so important for you to step up and stand out. And
thank you.
and we're so grateful for that and appreciate your empathy. And when I talk to my women DNA cousins and my family, they
Right,
they're thankful too that we're able to, you know, build these bridges.
yeah,
We won't get all the answers, but
no,
we want to gather and build across the bridge. And what do we have now?
yeah,
I can't live in the past. I can study it, but what are we going to do now with it? And because of your information, I can verify some of the information, but dear Lauren, my hands are full with the DNA relatives that I'm dealing with that are alive now.
yeah, yeah. And how are they connected? I have a whole bunch more of cousins who are people of color, and I have no idea how they're connected. And there's probably not much I'm going to be able to do about figuring that out, but I'm going to keep trying.
Well, concentrate. What you've done, what I've understood, what
Well,
I've done.
I'm talking about people who are not Moss
I know what you
related.
mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah,
I have a question for you.
yeah.
That being said, I stay in my lane. I stay in the branch that I can focus on,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to do a whole lot of spending time chasing down information that I can't verify
Right.
through DNA because I have a number of people, and you know too, who don't know who they are right now,
Yeah, exactly.
and they're calling on us to tell them about their family.
Yeah,
Who am I? Where did my family come from? They don't know a grandparent, let
yeah.
alone a great grandparent.
I feel so lucky that I have, information and history that I can, put my fingers on, and recognizing that most people of color in this country don't have that. And that's hard.
It's hard, but it's the truth. And
Yes.
and I feel that I want to ask you a personal DNA question. When
Yeah.
you did your DNA, did you under your origins, do you have any different uh
Anything other than I expected?
yes.
Um, I was a little disappointed I'm 99.99% white. You know, Northern and Western European. I thought, oh, come on, there's got to be at least a couple Jewish people, but yeah,
And the same thing is with Tommy.
yeah. Yeah, there's no question where it comes from. Where you people you come from. Yeah,
Well, see, that's why uh, with you and I and with Tommy, one thing that we can do is concentrate. If we wanted to find some some verifiable similarities, is look at our origins.
right,
Look at the origins and see what percentages.
right. And I haven't looked at I didn't look at his profile, but I can tell you about mine. It's all German, English, Scottish, Irish, little bit of French, little bit of Dutch,
Right. So,
tiny bit of Eastern European. That's it.
well, that's why when I look at mine, and and I'll show it to you, you will see it, and those are some of the verifiable records
Yeah,
that we can look at. Without dealing with the DNA, we can deal with the origins. You see what I mean?
yep, sure.
So I'm gonna share mine with you. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen. Okay.
I don't know how to pull mine up, so I'm not going to be able to help you, I don't think.
That's okay. Okay. Can you see
Yeah.
this where it says origins?
Ethnic, 30% Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu,
Yeah, so I'm gonna,
22% Nigeria, and then 9 others.
okay, well, I'm gonna show you the 9 others.
Yeah,
What you do is you click right here.
yeah, there it is. Scotland, Ireland, Norway. That's interesting.
Right. So
Yeah,
here on
that does not surprise me because, what I know of the Mosses is that they were probably English or Scottish.
well, here's
So,
what it is.
yeah,
Lauren. I have 52. The majority of them they're the African ones. And then next one that comes up, look at this, 7% Scotland, another 7% Ireland,
right.
uh, Norway, isn't that up in here too? Norway.
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah, I don't know where that's from.
I'm just talking to you. So
Yeah.
there's 17% that are European in nature. And there
Yeah.
they are. These are the colors where mine are. But the majority of them are here. You see? That,
Hmm.
so that's what when I first got my test, I wanted to see my ethnicity. And,
Yeah.
and I was, and so that's who you are. That's your history.
It surely is.
And who never would have been able to do that without DNA. And so now that's what verifies the Scotland and Ireland. That's 14% right there. They're right up in this
Yeah.
area. You see that? They're right there.
Yep.
So what that did is that verified.
Right, right.
That verifies when you look at yours, you'll have some of those in yours, won't you?
Yep,
So that verifies, you know, the man, that family. So my descendants are from your family, and that's the percentage. Almost 14 to 17%.
yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what, where Ruben was in your, which grandfather, how many generations back he is to you.
Ruben,
Yeah,
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you right now.
because you,
I'm gonna show you.
yeah,
I'll share my screen with you.
okay.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yep. So
Uh,
Ruben,
I'm gonna make it bigger for you.
you're going back from, yeah,
So, to the best of my knowledge, this is what I'm using as my uh, generational chart. And
uh-huh,
and I haven't added the uh, Thomas Moss's family yet. You understand what I'm saying? I haven't added them as saying they did it. I didn't say that Thomas Moss is a father.
right.
I didn't do that.
That's fine. Yeah, I get it.
I'm doing these because these are verifiable records right now,
Right,
and which is pretty solid based off of the things that you have and the records you showed me in color, the different ones, and then here's mine uh genealogy chart.
right.
First of all, there's William and Jack, and we're talking about in Alabama. We didn't say
Yep,
Franklin, Alabama, did we? Franklin County, but we knew that they were in Alabama. And now you, based from uh, your records, we know that it's Franklin County. Isn't that where they were?
yep,
Franklin County, Alabama. So there he is. Him and Martha, they had the following children. Here's Reuben Thomas Moss. And we're saying that he's a son of both of Jack and Martha. You know why? Because William Jack took over. He was a part of he he's the one that took on the responsibility as the head of the family. Even
right,
though, because this Reuben is, he's he's older now, so somebody had to be his father. And then when they left, they had to gather their family units. And this is how they coalition. And they stayed together. Now they have names. And this is another reason why I believe my ancestors, especially Reuben Thomas, he had favor. He had favor.
hmm,
There he is. He was born in 1843 in Alabama. That's a slave, but it didn't say Franklin County. I didn't know that until Tommy and you gave me those records. But on all their on all the census records, it says Alabama. It
Yeah.
it didn't get specific.
Well, it fits.
Yeah. Okay, so then here we go. That here's they are, and then we got a city. So this is Reuben, my second great grandfather, is what he is. And him and city, they married, and then her name was City Roberts, and they stayed in Arkansas, right around
Mhm.
Ralston, and then they moved because their sons uh, were porters. They,
Right.
they had some sons that were porters after the slavery. They were porters, so they got a chance to travel. Their sons,
Yeah.
and when their sons moved, They migrated to California.
Right.
One of their sons was a preacher. He was a,
Mhm.
he was the first. He got a theology degree from Howard University in 1911. That's
That's
James
awesome.
James Monroe Moss has it, and we yes, we have his um his his degree, and this is the one, James Monroe Moss. His kids, his kids are the ones that match you and Tommy the most,
Yeah.
because he was up on the East Coast. He was at Howard. He married there, and those kids are the ones that are DNA matches the most. Uh, James Monroe Moss.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's Henry. There's Henry and this Verdina, Pink Willis. You use that word. William and Martha, Johnny, and Wade. They're on the census. They come out on the census. And then we go down to the second generation. Now, this second generation is one that's more DNA verifiable.
Yeah.
Now, that's Thomas. He he was born 1843 in Alabama. Uh, Thomas was uh, that Reverend Thomas Moss. He was from
Uh-huh.
Alabama.
Yeah.
He passed away in, I think, 1850,
He
wasn't it?
passed yeah. 59, I think.
No, it wasn't no
Was it
59.
49? 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so that means that Reuben was like about 7 years old
Right.
on,
But I think that Reuben wasn't owned by Thomas, or he would have been named in the will.
I don't, I don't know. I
I
know,
think he was owned by JCC.
right,
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
he's in Alabama. He's in the same location.
Yes, they both were.
Yeah, because Jackson had slaves and William had slaves.
Yep.
Both of them brothers did,
Yep.
and the dad did.
Yes. And some of the son-in-laws did too.
Yeah, they're all on the slave schedules.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, this progressed. He married City, and see, City, his wife City had a child before Reuben's kids.
I think so. Yeah.
So that's this Alice Wiley, daughter of Reuben. And I matched those descendants. There's a woman that's 100 years old that is,
Huh.
this is her ancestor, this Alice Wiley. Their names are Langford, and they matched me through DNA. And they're here in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
And so one of my cousins here. So I had DNA matches with this Alice Wiley. And then here this is Thomas Rueben And Thomas W. Moss, the son of Reuben and Sidney Moss, that's my great grandfather. Thomas is. And that's his name, Thomas Moss. And he was born in 1865, and he had a short life. He passed away in 1899.
Yeah.
So he had a short life, but he had a lot of kids. And my grandfather was one of them, verified by DNA.
Woohoo.
But now this is Ruben and City. And then they had a lot of kids. You can see as they come down, there's William H., Josephine, there she is.
Yeah.
That's the Alice Roberts Langford, the daughter,
Mm-hmm.
1934, and died in Los Angeles. Alice, her. And here's Jeannie Owens. That's the daughter. Her name is also Virginia. Got Laura, Jane, and this is the one. James Monroe Moss. He's the son of Rueben and
Yeah.
Sidney Roberts. He was born in 1876 in Arkansas. He died in 1967 in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And he seems to have had a lot of children all over the country.
You know why?
Because was he one of the porters?
No, he was
Oh, he was the preacher?
the preacher.
Ah, cool.
Him and his brother went to the same school. He was the preacher.
Yeah.
And so it's from theology, just think of that. From Arkansas to Howard University.
He went to Howard University?
Yeah,
Oh man, that's great.
that's where he got his theology degree at Howard University, the second class. He was
Wow.
the second class of that school. He got his theology degree. So he was a ordained minister.
Which is more than Thomas Moss was, by the way. He
Yeah.
was not ordained or educated.
Well, you know who else was a pastor?
Yeah. He
Reuben.
was,
Reuben.
Ruben was a pastor also?
Yeah. His
Oh, I
dad.
didn't know that.
So do you see how this is
Yeah.
it's passed down? And look at their names. Thomas, Reuben. The first child of Rufus, I mean the first child of Reuben is Thomas Moss.
Hmm.
So he's used the names of within his, slaveholders.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you, they had favor. And you just seen that in my conversation so far. Boom, boom, boom. And then their sons here, that's James right here. He's married and he passed away in 19 no he passed James Monroe. He traveled from after he got his degree, came up in Washington D.C., married, and that's
Right.
where a lot of these DNA matches are up there. And then he went to Minnesota. He traveled to Minnesota, and that's where he did a lot of preaching there. And then that's that Mike McGee. You'll see a match. Mike McGee.
Mm-hmm.
He had a relationship with one of the women there, and that's where Mike McGee and Pat McGee. Those are from James Monroe, and those are the ones if you showed some matches with them, Mike McGee. So they're from this James Monroe.
Hmm.
And now the ones that went to Los Angeles, here he is, Fred Moss
Right.
and Luther,
Luther, right.
Luther Henry Moss, and Lena went to Los Angeles. See how they passed away? But what happened is these brothers were traveling. They were porters. And the porters raised our family's income. They weren't farmers. They were porters, and they worked on the best railroads.
Yeah.
And then when they go to the cities, they worked at the best hotels.
That was probably a pretty good job.
It was a great job. It brought them out of
Yeah.
our families out of
Lot better than sharecropping.
yes. It brought them into the middle class. They had items, they had possessions, they worked. And so that's our story. These are Reuben's sons now. So they had favor.
Hmm.
And so they moved west during the Great Migration because when they were free, they didn't have to stay in Ralston and Arkansas, Nevada County, Ralston. They got out of there
Mhm.
and they got education. That's that son James Monroe. He went these brothers. They went and got education.
Hmm.
And Frederick, that's another one of the brothers. So his picture is Lena and Frederick. There was three of them that went to L.A.
Mhm.
Frederick, Luther, Henry, and Frederick, Luther, and Henry.
Yeah.
So those three were in Los Angeles. So what I'm showing you now, you see, I have some verifiable records. It's
Right.
typed, and
Right.
and then I just go right on down. But I just want to let you know about here's Henry D. and Pink, and you have them in your trees, and you talk about them. So there they are, and their connection. And here's Caroline. Here's the one you're talking about, Henry and Caroline Moss, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a different Caroline.
This one,
I I think so, yeah.
well, here's Dan. You're talking about Daniel, right?
Mhm.
And Caroline, Henry D. Moss, you talked about him. See, so the, we have to cross the T's and dot the I's on them. But
Mhm.
but you talked about Pink Haney. They all were they're all in my branch.
Yeah.
So that's John Henry. You mentioned the Henry. Here's the Henry. It goes into Nord Yeager and Pink, those names. And so it goes like this here, cuz all the way down Thomas William Moss, there he is. And
Mhm.
he married this Della Herring. That's my great grandmother, and the kids there down, and Molly, Etta, them, and then here's my grandfather, David Moss, son of Thomas Moss and Della Herring Moss.
Right.
And so there he is, and he married my grandmother. And let me tell you, in the 1870 census, all three of my grandparents were in the same town.
Mhm.
Um, on my dad's side, the Mosses, the Burnells, and the Herons were
Huh.
all in 1870 in the same
They're in the
location.
same. Yeah.
Three of my grandparents, great
Mm.
grandparents. So that being said, to go down to Josephine and all of them, the Atkins, and here's a picture of Jeannie and her picture, Jeannie had a slave picture, and they had a picture of these
Mhm.
Queen Esther and all them. And here's this James Monroe.
Yeah.
This is the one that has that Val
That's,
and
that was,
Val's nieces and nieces that are matching you. Um, uh, they they match you, and that's from this James Monroe, and there he is. And the wind, and those are the ones on the East Coast. Bessie Mae, Luther Henry. So that's how tight it is. And then I come all the way down, for example,
okay.
to, let's go down. Oh, okay. Generation 4,
Yeah.
you come down through them, the Henrys, Mary Josephine, and their pictures. And I have, you see this little Bible? I have a family Bible that has written about the family history, right?
Oh, that's great.
My cousins sent me her mother's Bible, and it has marriage, death, stories in that Bible. And they shared it with me. So that helped verify the records. And now we're down to my uncles. My uncle
Uh-huh.
Floyd Moss. This is my dad's brother and sister. Floyd, and then here's my dad, Kenneth Moss, right there. And my uncle. And it talked about Hubert, my uncle, and his kids. Here's this Daniel. You were talking about Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Here's his kids up in this area over here. There was a Herbert Moss over here, and there he is. And then as I go down to the Floyd, and this is this here family Bible right over there. And as I go down to Lloyd Kenneth, that's my father,
Right.
my mother, and his and my Lois, and he married twice. Dad did. This is his other wife over here, and these are my brothers and sisters right here. This generation. Now these are the kids of my mother and father, Kenneth and Lois. These are
Mm-hmm.
my brothers, brother Dale, and Marvin, and there I am right here. And my wife was from she was born in Arkansas.
Huh.
So there she is. And then I come down. Then there I am, generation 6. Me,
Great.
my kids, where they were born, and my daughter Bridget, Donnell's my son, and then Dale, my brother Dale, there he is. His son was on the Bachelorette about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh,
Her name was Claire Clowley. He was on the Bachelorette, and he won the Bachelorette in 2 weeks. My son, I mean my nephew Dale Moss Jr. Google him sometime when you get a chance. Dale Moss Jr. And so there they are, Albert Flakes. Now this is my son Jerry, my daughter Bridget, and that's his kids, and my daughter Bridget. She lives here, and this is my grandson Delon, the picture, and my son Donnell. I got 2 sons and a daughter. And then
nice.
finally, here's my grandson Delon, who's like 30 years old, and then he had this father. He has a daughter, Kalea. That's my great
That's a
grand.
pretty name.
And she was born January 17, 2018. She's 6 years old. So that's my generation
Yeah.
chart.
Very cool.
And that's what this family tree maker is able to do. And also Ancestry is able to do that now.
Yeah.
They have charts you can have do on Ancestry.
Yeah.
But what I do is I take that, it's a PDF, and I can just send it.
Okay.
And then what I do is I send you a PDF of that. And then I have a copy right here. So if it's 19 pages. But if I have a conversation with anyone, I'm talking to you, I can look right at it as opposed to looking up at my screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I can, give you, the answers.
Okay.
But this is our story. And this is our story, the monsters from my perspective, and I wanted to share it with you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm gonna need to go soon. Wondered if there was anything else you wanted to ask or tell me about before, or if you want to talk some more later, or maybe talk together with Tommy too. I don't know
Uh,
what's next, if anything.
okay. Um, based off of what you've seen, what do you feel is our next step going forward?
Well,
I have one.
you have one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would like to pull up your documents
Okay.
and then you give me an explanation of what your documents are.
You mean for my DNA from my
All these
ancestry?
different reports you've given me. You, you,
Uh-huh.
you know that information that you've given me?
Say that again?
You know the DNA information that you've given
The
me?
DNA information. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And,
I can pull that up, but I don't know how to make it come onto the screen. So you would have to help me with
no,
it.
I have it.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Ah,
I just want to show you. I want to show you one of them just to get your input on it. You see what I'm doing? I'm showing you what I have, and
right.
and I have it in a condensed form,
Right. Okay.
and it tells the family story. And I hope that you've learned more about
Oh,
what
yes.
what you wanted to know about Rueben Moss.
Yeah. And it's especially interesting and important to me to hear things like, that Luther went to Howard and became a preacher and things like that. I think you said it was Luther.
The James Monroe.
Yeah. That that means a lot to me. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm telling you, we have favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't left without, we have favor. And they still kept your family's, your ancestors' names. My my great
Yeah. That's true. A lot of people
yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
yeah. So I want to show you this one document,
Okay.
and then we can move on down. Right. Let me see. Let me show you how I have them set up so you can see.
Okay.
So can you see all those documents?
Yep.
Okay. So what I would do is, for an example, I'm gonna pull one up and see if it'll come up where it starts with yours.
Yep.
What I do is I have screenshots. I take a screenshot as I'm doing my research and I put it in a certain file.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'll do that. But I want to show you these right here. Let's start with this one. Can you see this file?
Yeah.
Okay. you can see that pretty clear, right? Can you see that pretty clear?
Pardon me?
Can you see that clearly?
I can see that you have highlighted the document that's Yvette, Valida, and Pat and Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah. hmm
you can see that document, can't
Yeah,
you?
I haven't seen that document if it has.
You're the one that gave it to me.
I'm sent it to you.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. It just wasn't, I didn't title it that.
yeah. It was on
Okay.
another, but this is an example of SM, like for example, one. See
Yeah.
that? One, two, Lawrence and them. These are the ones that are from James Monroe, like you have. You have the colors, right? See the colors, James Monroe,
Yep.
and and then the match, this SM, that's a 16% match with you. That person is like maybe 20%, 20, 60, 20 centimorgan match with me. This SM. That's Shirley Meeks is her name. And that's Josephine Moss, her one of the descendant of Josephine. That's Reuben's sister. That's Reuben's sister descendant.
hmm
There's James Monroe, and these are James Monroe. So you're 9 centimorgans with her. That this Yvette, can you see where you says Yvette Holder? You're 9 centimorgans with her. Also, you match up the Mosses. And Val Randolph, you're 15 centimorgans match with her. Look how many she
Uh-huh.
matches Tommy. 111. You see that? 111 centimorgans with Tommy. And here's Mike McGee. You match him 9%. And see, that's Mike McGee, he's a descendant of uh, James Monroe. You see what I mean? He's a descendant of the preacher. And so is his brother. These are brothers. But he matches you. He 31 centimorgans matched with Tommy. See that?
Mm.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So so that's why I'm telling you, these are the records that you've given me, and and I have the matches. I have these matches from you,
Yeah.
and just one of I want to show you. That's that one.
Oh, that's the one that's the descendants. Yeah.
Can you see Ruben?
Yep.
So there he is. So there it is with Ruben. You have it color coded, and that
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's where I come in. My name right
Uh-huh.
there. And we talk about these other people. You did a great job, and you got these matches right down here. Joshua Davis, he's he's a certain amount of matches with he, with you're 14 centimorgans with you, and that's Reuben's sister's
Uh-huh.
descendant. So that's what I'm telling you. And here's the SM right here. We saw her. You remember with Meeks? She's 16 centimorgans with you. So I just wanted to share some of these. Now that you heard my story, now you see how they're all connected.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're at. And and thank you for what you've done. Now what I'm gonna do is incorporate your information
Right.
in my tree.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna be doing. So do you have any final questions for me before we close the meeting, Lauren?
Mm-hmm. I don't. I think as far as I'm concerned, the next thing I want to poke a little bit at is some of the people who were enslaved in Alabama and who stayed in Alabama, and can I trace any of those people?
Okay, Real-
Which, you know, if it doesn't really, you know, they're not necessarily related to me, but it might be a benefit to some of their descendants. So that
Yeah.
would feel,
what you've done, you,
I don't know if I
go
don't
ahead.
know if I told you that I'm writing a book about my family history for my family, which has gotten to be very long. And I decided about 5 years ago that I wasn't saying enough about the people that were enslaved or otherwise victimized by people in my family. So I'm going back and I'm making sure that in the book, I'm doing everything I can to find the names and say the names. And if I can, I figure out what happened to them. So that's
Well,
what I've been working on for the last couple of years is
okay, well, that's,
trying to. So that's even people who were, you know, like imported to Boston in 1630s.
well, that's fine.
It's fascinating.
This is my group, Moss Genealogy Research Group.
Yep.
This branch in your store, in your book, we have information.
Yeah.
We have a chapter. Now, whatever else
Yep.
you need from somebody else,
Right now, you're one of the lucky ones, right?
no, we're one of the blessed and favored ones. It's not
Yeah.
luck. You know,
Yeah.
it takes effort to be where we're at. We're favored.
Yeah.
So when you do decide if you need to hear our side,
Yeah.
add us, you have some verifiable records, cuz.
Hey, I have one last very small question.
Go ahead.
Somewhere in your in the list of DNA matches to somebody, I forget, maybe it was to you, was Maxine Waters. And I asked, is that the Maxine Waters?
Well, I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, okay. She was a congressman.
I know
Oh
her.
yeah. Okay. But
I don't have any verifiable records. Did you
I
talk to
can't remember
someone?
where I found it.
It
Like a
very
D, she came up as you know how when you could look at somebody else's page and then see who if you have any DNA matches in common. She
yeah.
came up somewhere in there and I can't remember where.
Okay, once you find out, let me know.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah, but the things that we have is it's even cooler
Yeah,
because we have verifiable records, cuz.
yeah, yep.
So you carry on and thank you so much. And
Oh, you are welcome. And you know, if you have any other questions or anything that you want me to know or things I can help you with, just let me know. I'd be happy to continue.
I definitely will. And likewise, whenever you want to open up and get some other people involved, let me know.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cousin Jerry. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
It was a blessing getting this, talking with cousin Lauren and getting her side of the story and sharing my information with her about my family history, our family history. And it's sort of like you hear this cliche, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That's what's been done today. You know, I can see the white of her eyes and she can see the white of mine, and we can talk about different topics to verify the information that we have. So, uh, with that, I'm going to be signing off. This is Jerry Moss, the founder of Moss Genealogy Research Group. The truth can't be hidden. It's all good. It's all God.